Why, hello, I'm Andy and I'm here under I-66 and the orange and silver lines at East Falls Church Station. Today we're going to be riding on the silver line on its branch all the way to Ashburn, looking at some of the secrets, stories, and facts you may not know about the DC Metro's newest Metro line. So join me, ride with me, and let's begin this journey.
Welcome to Secrets of the Silver Line. Now, the Silver Line doesn't start at East Falls Church, but all the way at downtown Largo Station in Prince George's County, Maryland, running alongside the Blue Line until Stadium Armory, where it also joins up with the Orange Line. The three lines run together through the DC core until Arlington, where the Blue Line splits at Rosslyn. The Silver and Orange lines run together through the Rosslyn-Ballston corridor until they split at East Falls Church. This new branch opened in two phases, the first of which opened in 2014, running through Tysons Corner to Wiehle-Reston East, while the second phase, which opened in 2022, continues to Dulles International Airport, ending at Ashburn Station in Loudoun County, Virginia. I was fortunate enough to attend the Phase 2 opening back in 2022, where I even got to appear in some other YouTubers' videos. But back to our route, since we've already covered the eastern and middle portions of the Silver Line in our Secrets of the Blue and Secrets of the Orange Line videos, we're starting today's journey at East Falls Church. It's west of this station where the Silver Line splits from the Orange Line via a flying junction. The first stop on our journey, and the first stop only on the Silver Line, is McLean, right next to the headquarters of Capital One. The station features, as one would expect, a more modern architectural style than East Falls Church, commonly referred to as the Tysons Peak, which seems like a combination of the Alexandria stations and the more recent designs of Noma and Largo stations. In the station's mezzanine and ground level, we find our first bit of artwork along the Silver Line, Voyagers by Martin Donlin, comprising 25 glass panels featuring poetry from various Virginia poet laureates. This artwork is particularly beautiful during the daytime, which is when we recommend you visit if you want to come see it and read it for yourself. This station is also the first of many in our journey that has these distinctive pedestrian overpass bridges. While very spacious, they are inexplicably covered in mesh rather than glass, like at other pedestrian overpasses in the system, which unfortunately means both noise and the elements blow in. And speaking of how one accesses this station, there is one unfinished entrance on the north side that was originally set to open at the end of 2023, but should be open relatively soon, offering a more convenient connection to the aforementioned Capital One Center, complete with its own pylon. The next station west is Tysons, the first on our route to feature the gambrel style design, totally unique to the Silver Line. The high vaulted roof is a nod to the original vaulted metro station designs, which at this point might seem somewhat distant all the way in Tysons Corner. The station has a direct pedestrian bridge connection to Tysons Corner Center, the largest mall in the DMV and the 8th largest in the entire United States. The station also features artwork on the side, Solar Sails, a 2015 piece by Ray King. And if this piece of artwork looks a little familiar, that's because Ray King was also behind the Largo lens at downtown Largo, which as you can see is quite similar to Solar Sails. After Tysons, we descend underground to go under the original Tysons Corner at the intersection of Chainbridge Road and Leesburg Pike, and emerge above ground at Greensboro. This station, located partially below and partially above ground, features the artwork Technology Triangle Colonnade by David Dahlquist, which, similar to McLean, features poetry by various Virginia poet laureates. The poetry in this case is placed on large columns adorned with the namesake triangles, which are meant to represent a connection of government, industry, and the consumer. The artwork can be found at the station's north and south exits in entirely different contexts, given that the north exit leads to dense development while the south exit leads to the old Tysons, strip malls, and parking lots.
And it's also at this entrance where you'll find one of the most transit-oriented, but also my personal favorite, Peruvian chicken place in the entire DMV.
Our next station, Spring Hill, also features column-like artwork, although this has to be one of the tallest pieces of artwork in the entire metro system, at 40 feet in height. The piece is called Eccentricity and is by Barbara Grigudis, a name you might recognize as she also did work at Noma Station on the Red Line. Here at Spring Hill, the piece is overlaid with the poetry of Lee Pelham Cotton. Leaving Spring Hill, we embark on the longest stretch of track without a station on the entire metro system, at 5.7 miles from platform end to platform end. For reference, that's the same distance as from the US Capitol to Ballston in Arlington. However, there was a metro station proposed to break up this long section of track. The station would have served Wolf Trap National Park for the Performing Arts, a popular outdoor music venue, and would have been located here at Trap Road. Unfortunately, this stop was eliminated given high costs and the limited development potential around the site, given that rezoning the surrounding area for transit-oriented development would have proven to be quite difficult. Nowadays, the only way to get to Wolf Trap National Performing Arts via transit is to take a connecting bus. And now we arrive at Wiehle-Reston East, the original terminus for Phase 1 of the Silver Line. The station is home to the artwork entitled, Untitled, a 2016 piece by David Wilson, an artist known for his work integrating architecture and glass art. Wiehle-Reston East is quite visibly connected to this large piece of transit-oriented development to its north, which hides the station's giant parking garage, as well as hiding a large bus transfer, all of which has been cleverly placed beneath the TOD. Leaving Wiehle-Reston East, we enter Phase 2 of the Silver Line, inbound for Reston Town Center. Reston Town Center is the only station on Phase 2, other than Dulles International Airport, to lack on-site parking, and will soon be host to the artwork Ethos by George Bates. The artwork will evoke integration, growth, and togetherness in Reston, paralleling the values of Robert E. Simon, Reston's founder, who tried to incorporate these ideas into the suburb from its inception. At our next stop, Herndon, you'll need to look down to find the piece Now and Then by Haddad Trugan, a series of granite tiles scattered throughout the pedestrian bridges that depict past and present images of Herndon. The words on top of these images are all related to the act of commuting and traveling. And at night, LED spotlights are meant to highlight different combinations of words and tiles. Herndon Station also features a large park and ride and bus transfer station, much of which actually predates the introduction of the Silver Line. Additionally, the construction of the Silver Line station at Herndon came with the addition of a pedestrian bridge, one that shows a remarkable difference compared to the ones that connect to the station itself.
So we're here at the bridge that connects the original Herndon parking garage with the new East garage that was built alongside the Silver Line Phase 2 extension. And what you can notice about this bridge is it's a lot quieter to walk through. It's a lot less cold and a lot less windy because they use glass paneling on the sides, unlike the more used Silver Line bridges that go over the highway and go to the station itself, which only use mesh, which allow for that wind and that noise to get in and sort of make it a somewhat uncomfortable experience when you cross over, versus this bridge, which is actually a lot nicer and unfortunately a lot less used.
At Innovation Center, you'll find this charming poster hanging from the side of the station's southern parking garage. Although this sadly blew away during a period of high winds at the end of 2022, I'm pleased to see it back up, greeting passengers that exit towards a new transit-oriented development to the station's south. but at the station's north entrance, you'll find Brad J. Goldberg's Threshold, a series of granite blocks in 3 colors that make up an oversized bitmap, representing the area's importance in the tech and data industries. Once we leave Innovation Center, we exit the Dulles Toll Road and approach that highway's namesake, Washington Dulles International Airport. The station is, in my humble opinion, one of the most beautiful in the entire metro system, and a long time coming for DC. Plans for a metro station at Dulles Airport were first considered as early as 1969, just 7 years after the airport's opening. Plans originally called for a single-track stub-end station 28 feet below the parking lot. It would have featured an inclined moving walkway to connect to the terminal, a feature rare for most transit systems. Alas, nothing was built, not even a tunnel provision that was rumored to be hidden under Dulles for decades. Plans for the station were revived in 2002 during the modern planning for the Silver Line, which, according to 2004 plans, would have still been underground, although now planned as a 2-track island platform station. The station, located a bit further from the terminal than the original 1969 plan, would have used an existing tunnel that had been built to connect the terminal to its parking garages, using this tunnel as the station's mezzanine. However, in 2011, the Metropolitan Washington Airports Authority Board gave up on the idea of an underground station once and for all when it voted to build the station above ground to save costs. The above-ground station would now be set about 1,000 feet from the terminal, but would still use that parking lot tunnel as the station's access to the terminal. But regardless of all the alternative designs and botched attempts at a station at Dulles Airport, the station that we did get is beautiful. The platform design of the station is meant to mirror the main terminal of Dulles Airport, designed by the famed Finnish-American architect Eero Saarinen. On the platform, you'll find information plaques explaining the airport's and the metro's architecture. Ride down the escalator and you'll be greeted with a mezzanine unlike any in the metro's system, with striking concrete columns. And on 4 of these columns, you'll find the station's art installation.
Here in the Dulles International Airport Station mezzanine, you'll find Cliff Gardens' Dulles Airport columns, which uses aluminum panels and cladding on these columns to symbolize the air trails generated by jet airplanes as they fly through the sky.
As mentioned previously, the tunnel connecting the metro station to the airport terminal predates the Silver Line, as it was originally built to connect the terminal to parking garages. New with the Silver Line, however, is the Dulles Airport History exhibit, which traces the story of Dulles and the land it sits on, moving chronologically from the metro station towards the terminal. The exhibit begins with the original indigenous inhabitants who lived here for thousands of years, and goes all the way to the town of Willard, the majority black town which was displaced for the construction of Dulles International Airport. The exhibit also goes into detail on the various planning processes that went into the airport's construction, as well as the design innovations that came with it, providing a helpful timeline showing major events in the airport's history. The second half of this corridor is dedicated to a more cosmological exhibit, with various images taken from the Hubble Space Telescope displayed along these walls. And after this, the long corridor ends at this lobby, what would have been the entrance to the original underground station per the plans from 2004. Here you'll find the end of the Dulles Airport History exhibit and a wonderful metal model of the airport, which includes the Silver Line station, as well as a plaque dedicated to Frank D. Hawley Jr., who played a critical role in getting the metro finally extended to Dulles. After this lobby, the tunnel splits into 2 smaller tunnels, leading to different sections of the terminal building, entering at the baggage claim arrivals level. While we spent a bit of time talking about the tunnel, the actual travel time between the metro station and the terminal is under 5 minutes, aided by the moving walkways. And since we don't actually have a flight to catch here at Dulles Airport, it's time to get back on the train and continue and finish our journey north along the Silver Line. Our next stop, Loudoun Gateway, has infamously been outed across the YouTube platform as the DC's Metro's least used station. And not to pile on here, but when we were filming this part of the video, we were the only people to get on or off at this station, namely because the one and only land use here is parking. That being said, the station does have a piece of artwork, Bide Your Time by Jacqueline Metz and Nancy Chu, featuring a labyrinth and depictions of herons. The title, Bide Your Time, references Loudoun County's motto, I bide my time, while the herons are indicative of the great blue herons active in the county. As for the labyrinth, this represents the connections that the Silver Line now provides, but it's also a lot of fun to follow if you're biding your time at Metro's emptiest station. And after Loudoun Gateway, we arrive at a far busier stop, our last stop for the Silver Line and for the series.
This is Ashburn. Last stop.
We finally made it to Ashburn, the furthest metro stop from DC in the entire system, over 25 miles from the Washington Monument. Like Reston Town Center, Ashburn is also set to get station artwork at both of its entrances. The pieces by Martin Donlin, who also did the artwork at McLean Station, are called The Past and the Future for the south entrance and Transportation and the Landscape for the north entrance. The pieces will feature poetry by local poet Kristen Roberts Merritt and will incorporate themes of transportation, landscape, and the many data centers near the station. Being here at Ashburn does make you feel like you're at the edge of the world, mainly due to the open plots of developable land next to the station's entrances. It should be noted that the north side does have some burgeoning transit-oriented development, as well as the data centers that this area is so well known for. And south of the station, you'll find the aptly named Metro Center Drive, although, again, Metro Center feels a world away from where we are now at the end of the Silver Line and at the end of our Secrets of the Metro series.
So we finally made it to Ashburn at the northwest end of the Silver Line, marking the end of our Secrets of the Silver Line video and also marking the end of our Secrets of the DC Metro series. We started filming this all the way back in January 2022, inspired by, of course, Jeff Marshall's Secret of the Underground series. We wanted to do that here for DC. Since then, we hope you've learned a little bit from our videos. We've learned so much from you, our viewers. And just so you know, not the end of Andy on Track. We've got plenty more ideas. Lots of transit systems in DC, lots of transit systems beyond DC. So until then, until the next time, and until the next time, and until next time, and until the next time, until then, I'm Andy, and I'll see you on the Metro.